In today's video, we enjoy the beautiful mountain views, water crossings, and great food. But make sure you stay till the end, because it doesn't end well. Today we are headed out to hit some epic tracks with my buddy Matt and some other friends who stayed the night partway down the trail. We are going to an area called Wyprus and doing the Transalta Trail first. This first obstacle normally is not here, but with massive amounts of melting snow and ice, it has created a natural gatekeeper. And by that, I mean, if you can't get through this obstacle, you probably shouldn't be driving down the trail anyways. Lots of crossovers and small SUVs try and come out here on the weekends and constantly get stuck. And that's when we usually have to pull them out. After finally meeting up with the rest of our crew, it is time to air down for the trails ahead. Today I am airing down to roughly 12 psi, which should help me get some grip on the slippery ice ledges along the river and soak up some of the rough bumps along the way. This, hands down, is one of my favorite spots to either camp, cook, or just enjoy the views before hitting the trail. At this point, we are headed down into the valley, where we start to cross dry riverbeds and head upstream. In the winter, this steep hill can become quite treacherous if you run into vehicles coming in the other direction.
Go slow, slow, slow. You just cleared the bumper.
This obstacle may not look big, but since everyone is on 35s, you can see that the banks are very icy and quite high. There was a big lineup of cars behind us. Just SUVs that weren't lifted or trucks, and they couldn't quite do this, so it was cool to get past this obstacle, and then we pretty much had the rest of the trail to ourselves. Unfortunately, right after we got past the river crossing, Liam fell through the ice in his 4Runner, and we had to pull him out. This is where the damage started, and you'll see later in the video it caused some pretty major issues. could only pull him forward since the ice behind us was too thin, and obviously this wasn't ideal, but it was the only way we could get it done. That's like 3-4 feet deep. Look at that, you can see the water flowing down there. It's a little surreal to see the water flowing underneath the ice. There's pretty much caves and caverns all under the ice that we're driving over, and as the weather warms up, this stuff can happen. A lot of people come out here and they're not prepared for worst case scenarios like this, and we have had to save so many countless people. They don't have the proper gear or they don't have the proper vehicle, and they get into trouble. One of my favorite things are river crossings in the mountains. There's just something so beautiful about it. After some much needed food and coffee, we just enjoyed the warm weather and sunshine for a while. It feels absolutely amazing once the weather starts to warm up and spring is in the air after one of those typical Canadian winters. A little leftover za. After hanging out for a while, we made our way back. Everything was going well until Matt decided to jump his FJ and Liam's 4Runner started to have some issues. Matt ended up putting a giant crater-sized dent in his skid plate when he landed straight on a rock. He also absolutely destroyed his sway bar end link and wrecked his CV axle. After doing what we could to get Matt's FJ drivable, we thought it was probably time to head back, and that's when Liam ran into some issues as me and Matt were airing up. We decided to head back because the other guys hadn't showed up yet, and that's when we found Liam. So tell me what happened.
So Liam decided to drive on the ice today. He fell through. We thought nothing happened, and then he started coming back, and we hit some washboard, and bam, CV blows out his brake line, and now here we are. I am the powerhouse that's getting him up.
In the transfer case?
Oh, and the transfer case is gone, so
Potentially.
there's no power or drive. Jackson in the back, our 3rd gen 4Runner. He is our brakes, and we're using our radios to kind of get Liam back out to the fire road.
After some much needed bush mechanics on Matt's FJ, Liam decided that wasn't enough. So we got to work on his vehicle, and we were able to replace his broken brake line with a spare, remove the CV, and limp the 4Runner back home safely. Thanks for watching today's video, guys. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing and clicking that bell, and we'll see you in the next one.